Step into the Fieldhouse, your front row seat to legendary victories and untold stories. Hey, I'm your host, Lance Leonard, breaking down sports from the inside out, along with co-host Jimmy Lackey. It's more than just a game. It's the Fieldhouse Podcast. Hey, welcome in. It's the Fieldhouse Podcast. It's a production of the Kids Inc. Sports Network. We're hosts today. We have no guests. Nobody wants to come on the show or what, Jimmy?
You know, do you blame them?
Yeah, two old dudes right here. We love it. We love it. We want to thank everybody for listening in and tuning in, and tell your friends about it. You can, get in the car, listen to it on vacations coming up. So it's a great time to go back and listen to some of our podcasts. It was always great having Coop on. We had Coach Broadhurst on. It was nice seeing him go into the Panhandle Sports Hall of Fame. But this is Jimmy Lackey. I am Lance Leonard, and we're just gonna chop it up a little bit today. Chop it up. I mean, for you kids out there, it means we're gonna chat.
Okay? I had a lot of good feedback on Alex O'Brien podcast too. Had some good feedback.
He's a very intellectual.
Oh, he's so smart.
You know what I mean?
My gosh, he went to Stanford. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah. If you ever, anybody out there, if you ever get a chance, you're just driving in California. I don't know why we would just be driving in California, but if you can just go on that campus, you don't even have to get out of the car, walk, whatever. But the bushes alone will blow you away. Yeah. Okay, just what they do on the grounds alone, without even going into a building, you're just like, oh my gosh, where am I? Yeah, it's that cool.
Yeah, their IQ level's a little above mine. It's a little above mine.
Tim Tao plays for the Sod Poodles. He's a Stanford grad. I wonder if he knows Alex.
He might.
We may have to introduce those two. So yeah. Hey, Jimmy, let's kick this one off. We had the Panhandle Sports Hall of Fame this weekend. 6 inductees, all-time record. Wonderful ceremony. What's your first impressions? Just talking about it real quick.
Well, it was the inductees kind of spanned the gap there, and it was interesting how each one varied a little bit. I mean, Tom Dowdy's speech was outstanding. Cheryl's background, I went to college with Cheryl, so to see someone that's done what she's done.
Yeah.
And
powerful spokesman for women's sports.
Big time.
And still passionate about it.
The father of 3 daughters, I was really proud of her. Golly, Don's son got up there. He needed to be a head football coach. He could get the room going.
He's a football coach. So yeah, down in Arlington Martin.
He needed to have his football team in the room that day because
I love those guys without notes. Those coaches, they just they go on. And then of course Zach had a very compelling.
He did a great job.
Yeah, he did on his video. I will say that Zach is always appreciative. Even in his Pro Football Hall of Fame speech, the first thing he mentioned was that his life started on that dirt road. Yep. In between Pampa and White Deer.
And Diane Bush that came for Dr. Schweitzer. What a lovely 3 ladies that came for her and to visit with them on Saturday and Sunday, and they were so appreciative and really proud for her too.
Yeah.
And of course, Leslie.
Then the showstopper, Leslie brought her.
Leslie brought it home.
I think he could be a stand-up comedian. I really do. He could get it done if he was really. He's that funny, but he's that engaging and all that. So.
And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it on the air too, because I'm going to put us all on the spot. Thank goodness Leslie was last, because he was able to keep that audience. We went too long.
Way too long. And I'm just going to say this real quick. As stewards of the Panhandle Sports Hall of Fame, and that includes the ceremony, for it to be enjoyable for the athletes, for the coaches, for their families, and when you have youngins out there, which Tom Dowdy brought all his grandkids, which is way cool. But when you got to sit there 2 hours and 45 minutes.
It's too long.
It's too long.
Yep. And
you had 4 or 5 actual honorees on stage, walk off stage.
Yep.
Then you get the message.
Yeah,
and we can deal with.
We've known that, and that's on us. We'll take all.
We're both involved with the committee.
Yeah, we'll take that, and you and I've already addressed it. We've already timelined it out, and we'll take.
How about that, Lance Leonard getting up at 6 a.m. doing something?
That was outstanding.
Thank you.
That was outstanding, and because I was already on it too, and
I didn't sleep. I'm going to say that bothered me that much.
But it was nice to have yours, because I had mine sitting there, and so I just merged the two together so that we'd have a document to take back to the committee. but we've got to pare that down to less than 2 hours.
And I think we'll bring in
and it can be done.
The general audience, yeah.
It can be done. We know how to do it, and it can be done. And
yeah.
So those of you out there listening, Penn Hill Sports Hall of Fame fans, we're gonna take care of you on that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's good. So, hey, we've got a lot going on right now. One of just today, as we're taping this, Jerry West passed away.
Yeah.
The logo, one of the everybody's Laker for life, West Virginia, the whole thing. What's your thoughts?
Well, I remember him as a kid, and he was so smooth on the court, and quick. How quick he was, and it was in a different era. I mean, basketball was a different era at that time, but probably one of the premier point guards to ever play the game, and on top of that, what he did for the game after his playing years, sometimes controversial, but he was a leader and left a lot for that game and a lot for the NBA, and his family should be very proud.
Yeah, I agree. It's the logo of when you watch the NBA and you have that little logo, that's Jerry West going up for a shot. Amazing shooter, but we just want to say rest in peace, Jerry West. What you did for the world, you made it a better place. There's no doubt about that. Yep. So, and he loved that game of hoops. Speaking of the NBA, real quick here, the Mavs getting it handed to them by the Celtics, but my thought is this, Jimmy, the NBA and the NHL playoffs are at the same time. Let's get that switched up. Your seasons are forever, and then you're actually crowning your champions at the same time. Why not be smarter with your marketing like the NFL? NFL is so aware of everything. Get your brand out there in front of everybody without competing with somebody hardcore like that. So I think they need to change the schedules up. But the Celtics are so good this year, it's ridiculous.
My son-in-law is a huge Stars fan and a huge Mavericks fan.
Whoa,
and I need a little space there because he is on point during all of that.
To get to that level, though, it's been an amazing year for Dallas. It puts the pressure on the Cowboys.
It does.
So are the Cowboys the worst run franchise in Dallas? You have the Rangers won the World Series.
We talked about this, and I'm going to backtrack again because I told you how I felt about Jerry Jones. He is an unbelievable marketer, and I just go back to the fact that. Well, let me put it this way: do you think a university president would keep him as the person over this time with the last 30 years worth of results? And the answer is no.
Yes, I do. Here's why. That president looks at the money being brought in. I don't care if you're 2-8, 1-9, 0-10. When you have the $1 billion coming into your account, Jerry, keep doing your thing, man. I'm talking financially only, okay? He is an amazing businessman.
Oh, I know. I 100% agree on that side of it.
Yeah.
I'm talking about from a player personnel standpoint, win, baby, win.
Now, if you're just talking about results on the field, of course.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's not the way the NFL works.
I'm take it into a college level because money, I shouldn't say money's not a part,
money
but
matters
it is.
in college.
But a coach isn't going to stay there if he's not winning.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah, not at the Division I level, no.
Okay. Well, we better stop there because if we go to the Division II level, we're going to get into a conversation we don't want. I really don't want to get into.
Before we hop
today.
out of here on a break, we've got one more basketball topic. Caitlin Clark she's an amazing basketball player. Has changed the women's games as far as eyes on the game. She was at Iowa this year. Obviously, everybody knows that. Now in the NBA, getting a lot of hate from the other WNBA players. And the last straw was she was left off the U.S. Olympic team for Paris this summer.
Let's talk about
I'll let you go first.
Well, let's talk about it when we come back. We'll take take your break, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
And we've got some other stuff. UIL just announced a game changer yesterday, as well as Dr. Charles Breithaupt, the longtime athletic director and director of UIL, is retiring after this school year. I know him personally. We'll chat about that, how that'll affect schools in the Texas Panhandle. Jimmy and I saw some drones. Who thought two old dudes would say, oh, my gosh, these drones at the sod pools? We've got to talk about that. And then we want to visit maybe about the College World Series, and we'll hop out of here on this Fieldhouse Podcast. But stick with us. We'll be back. Thanks for joining us today.
Before we dive back into today's episode, let me share a fun fact with you. Did you know that the Fieldhouse Podcast is a production of the Kids Inc. Sports Network? That's right, Kids Inc. isn't just any sports organization. We have been a source for youth sports since 1945. From teaching kids the fundamentals of teamwork to fostering a love for the game, Kids Inc. is where champions are made. And here's the best part. As a listener of the Fieldhouse Podcast, you're a part of the Kids Inc. family too. Head over to kidsinc.org to learn more about current registrations, upcoming sports leagues, and how you can get involved in supporting your local young athletes. But wait, here's the kicker. Have you heard of the Rock Rose Sports Park Home Field Advantage campaign? It's a game changer for our community, aiming to provide state-of-the-art facilities for young athletes to train and compete. So if you believe in the power of sports to shape young lives and want to be a part of something truly special, check out kidsinc.org today and join us in making a difference. Together, let's continue to support the next generation of champions and to ensure that every child has the opportunity to succeed both on and off the field.
Welcome back into the Fieldhouse Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Remember, we're a production of the Kids Inc. Sports Network. We can't thank you enough for joining us. Please tell your friends about it. Sometimes it's two old dudes up here talking, but we do have a good time. And our next guest coming up, should we give him a little hint possibly for number 10?
Yeah, I think so.
We're going to bring in Stephen Carey. He is the voice of the Sod Poodles, does a play-by-play. He's got Zach Goodman on board about now. But anyway, that is Carey. Yes, he has that pedigree of his dad is the announcer for the St. Louis Cardinals, Chip, and his grandfather, Skip, did the Atlanta Braves, and his great-grandfather was the Harry Carey. So Stefan's a great guy, and his brother was here with him, his twin brother, and he's with the Oakland A's. So we'll talk to Steph about what's going on with life. He's a great guy, dynamic. He'll be in the big leagues someday.
We were having the auction the other night, and I did top of the fourth with him on the radio, and God, he's so good. But I took a picture of him while he was doing the auction, sent it to Chris, and Chris just sent a big old heart back because I know they miss each other, and they were the dynamic duo.
Yeah, Chris had an amazing home run call for the A's here recently that they'll make it big. Hey, speaking of amazing, Caitlin Clark has taken the United States by storm, the world by storm, with her ability to shoot a basketball for Iowa. Now that's transformed into the WNBA. Lots of talk about the WNBA. It's because of Caitlin Clark, in my opinion, but she was left off the Olympic team. Now the WNBA players, let's get this right. Some of them are hating on her. You can see the way they play against her and all that. It's kind of not becoming of the sport, I think. However, they don't have a vote in who's on that team. So let's get that out of the way right away. It's not the WNBA players' fault.
Yep.
But what do you say that about leaving Caitlin Clark, the name of all of women's basketball right now, off the U.S. Olympic team?
So, it's interesting that you asked that today because we didn't talk beforehand. But I was doing a little reading last night, and I saw Rebecca Lobo's response to that. And I thought that's the best response that I've seen.
I don't think I've seen it. What'd she say?
She's talking about, so while Caitlin's still in college, these ladies that made that team are going to Olympic trial camps.
Yeah.
They're going to these workouts way ahead of anything she's doing at the college level at that point in time. And not to say that they've paid their dues, but my point being is they're already professionals, and they're going to these Olympic camps to be seen, to be hopefully picked on this squad. And she said it's a no-brainer. Her time's coming. It's just that she wasn't able during her college time to go to any of those Olympic camps. These girls had already been seen and recruited and determined long before she ever made it to the WNBA as far as the timeline goes, and that played a lot out in it. Now, do you go ahead and pick her? Maybe. Are they targeting her? Absolutely, in some respects. Here's my but. Go back to her college days. She brought a little bit of that on herself too,
Oh no, she
and
does.
So but she's big enough. She's humble. When it happens, something happens to her, somebody knocks her down. Her post game responses are very humble. She's not belligerent about it. That part I really respect about her. I think she is what she is. I think she's excellent, and she's brought so much to the women's game, and the other girls need to just say thank you in that respect.
Their finances, their plane trips.
Yeah.
Totally a mistake by the Olympic Committee. She should be on the team. She is she's not one of the 12 maybe best players right this time. If she was the 12th person on the team, she can shoot the three better than the other 11 on the team. Yep. So she belongs on that team because take Joe Fan right here. Am I going to watch the U.S. Women's Olympic team in the first round of the Olympics? Nope. Second round of the Olympics? No. When they make the gold medal game, I'll be watching. If Caitlin Clark was on that team, I would be watching every game. I would make sure of that. They made a mistake. I think it's selfish. I think it's being, middle school girls arguing at recess like we all do. And I'm really disappointed in what has gone on with this committee not putting her on time. She is one of the names of basketball across the world. We all want to see her play, okay? And, yeah, her time's coming, blah, blah, blah. You don't know, though. She could get a devastating injury in the next 4 years and not be able to play on the Olympics. So that's my opinion. I'm going to stick to it. I'm not backing off. She needed to be on that team. She's not going to embarrass you. That's the thing. She's not going to embarrass you. So, U.S. Olympic Committee, bad job. And you will not have eyes on your games. What have they won, the last 8, Jimmy? Yep. 8 Olympics? Yep. They're going to win it. They're going to win it. The U.S. women are that good. Why not have her on the team, man? Why not have her on the team? You have an injured player on that team as one of those 12. You have an injured player, okay? So that's my opinion on that. Jimmy, let's move on from that.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think they messed up. You know what I mean?
Jerry
Jones, if he was the coach, she would be on the team because he knows what sells.
So I'm gonna throw this at you, and I don't mean to belabor this deal, but optics are everything. And go back to when LSU and Iowa played for the national championship, and it's obvious LSU's going to win that game at the end of the game. Caitlin Clark's, doing her thing all the time. Think about if Angel Reese never does this with the ring finger. Think about it. If she never did that, her whole world might be different too.
Yeah, you might be right.
It's those little things.
And Angel Reese is a great player too.
100%.
Right now, she's Rookie of the Year over Caitlin, in my opinion, in the WNBA.
And Cameron Brink is another one.
Yeah, no, there's great players, but Caitlin Clark is the name of women's basketball right now. I know Diana Taurasi doesn't want to hear that. I'm not saying she's better than is the top 12, but that doesn't matter on this.
But it's how she's been handling this is what has impressed me the most.
No, you use that momentum to promote your sport. You get her on that team, and you get even more.
It's just fueling her fire on the court is all it's doing. She's not letting it bother her in the public eye. That's the part I've appreciated about it.
Yeah, no, I think she's done a good job. Yeah. So and her team's terrible. The Indiana's. There's a reason she was the first pick because her team finished last. So, Hey, yesterday the University Interscholastic League made some big announcements. Charles Breithaupt, the longtime athletic director, and now recently he has been the director of all of UIL, the heart and soul of this, in my opinion, why they've gone from really a lot of negativity to at least listening to people across the state. It's an impossible job to run the state of Texas with one rule when you have the Panhandle and you have the Valley 12, 13, 14 hours apart. It's impossible. You have all sizes of population. You have Nazareth with, 78 students. You have Allen with 7,000 students. You know what I mean? So it's impossible to do that perfectly. But Charles Braddock's done a great job. And I just want to publicly say congratulations, and you will be missed. Whoever takes this role has big shoes to fill, and I'm sure they already have somebody in mind. But maybe we can get him on this show as well. He comes up and hunts up in Groover or fishes in Groover, has a lot of friends up that way. Maybe when he stops through, we could plan that with him. But congratulations on a great career, and we'll try to get him in here. But what the UIL did, Jimmy, is in all sports, we've already seen it in football, you're going to have Division I and Division II now. What this means in the simplest of terms, for instance, basketball, no regional tournaments anymore. You will just do the playoffs into state. For now, the state basketball championships will not have state semifinals, only state championship games, because you are adding, you're doubling the number of state champions. So you're going to have, 12 state champions in basketball instead of 6. Yep. So every time you go down to a San Antonio game in the Alamo Dome, it's a championship game. What this does, let's take it back to the Panhandle. Let's take it to right here at home, 4A, for instance. West Plains, Canyon, Pampa, Randall, all these. The 2 largest enrollment schools will be the Division I schools. The two smaller ones of the 4 teams that make the playoffs, okay? So look at this. You could have district champs. You could have all the district champs in one bracket because of their enrollment numbers. It's a major change. It's going to be confusing once the playoff hits. I don't applaud it. I mean, I mean, it's okay. It's not a big deal to me. I'm sad the regional tournaments are going along. I saw it coming. This is a chance for more state champions. Nothing wrong with that. You?
Well, think back when we were talking to Leslie about this, and his team finally made it these last 2 years to state, and he was talking about all his friends calling from other states. He said 214 schools in his deal, and only 2, or 4 make it to the state tournament. And his friends are saying, how do y'all do that? Because in their states, it's more like what we're talking about here. There's more opportunities for teams to advance, but their states aren't as big. Their density is not as big as what the state of Texas is. And I get if there was really an equitable way to do it with enrollments, that would be great. It's tough. And it goes back to what you're saying about the gentleman retiring. He's done a good job. And think about those committees that they have. They're the best kept secret in the state.
Yeah.
In a day and time where leaks happen and news gets out, they're about as tight-lipped an audience of people down there that when they make their decisions, we're all usually the first to know about it at the same time. And I guess that's what I've appreciated about his leadership is he's kept that group, they stay close to the vest, and when they make their decisions, they make them, and some you like and some you don't. I'm not one way or the other on this one yet. I need to see it.
Yeah, in football, just so you guys know, they divide it Division I and Division II before the season starts. They enroll those enrollments. That's not the way it is in basketball, baseball, soccer. All this, they will the top 4 teams, and then they'll split them. So coaches won't know who to scout ahead of time. It's gonna be different. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're the top enrollment in your district, you're there for sure.
You know where you're going to be.
You know what's going on. But big decision. Stuff like that's not going to be talked about a lot. But so if you're a fan of high school sports, if your son or daughter is involved in that's what's going to happen. It's going to be totally different. So you are not going to have any more state semifinal games as of now. Yep. They're trying to get it changed, as I understand, in basketball. You know what I mean?
That's weird.
That is weird.
That's weird.
That is weird. And that will be a neutral site, just a game that you and I, the coaches, by the way, when they make playoff sites, they just call each other and said, hey, where are we playing? You know what I mean? That's going to happen.
Friday Night Lights.
State semifinals. So, hey, let's get you out on this one. We saw some drones, man. And out at Hodgetown, they did one on the sod poodles themselves, and then they did one on Route 66 back-to-back nights. I'd say a couple of hundred drones were up in the air. And you're saying, so what, big deal. But these things moved. You saw the sod poodle logo. You saw a pitcher throwing a ball. It was moving at you. It was absolutely amazing.
I had watched America's Got Talent earlier in the week, and they had a drone show on the show that just blew them away. And then a few days later, we're having that in Amarillo. And I didn't realize, because we went Friday night knowing that one was going to be there then, but I went back Saturday night, and I didn't realize they were doing another one the next night. And hats off to Rush Lasik for sponsoring the one and Emerald National Bank for sponsoring the other, because those aren't cheap.
No.
And on top of that, they had fireworks afterwards. And so, but they had big crowds both nights. I think they said Saturday night was the largest crowd they'd had all year.
Yeah.
And
7,000 in there.
So this goes back to it hits home a little bit. I never thought that ballpark would pass when it went up for vote, you know.
Yeah.
And look what it's provided our community. Naysayers are out there, yay-sayers are out there. Everybody's out there enjoying a ball game. The baseball's great.
Yeah.
I love the brand of baseball.
Concessions are way too expensive.
That's the one downside.
Still like it is.
Yeah, it is. It's too much for a family for sure. But what the environment has provided for our community is second to none. And it's those type things, and it's this project that we're working on, this Rock Rose project, on a different scale, but for youth, it's the same, what we're going to be able to do for the young kiddos.
Well said.
And so, you know, those that have issues with the little things need to put those little things off to the side and understand that whatever it takes to bring new tax dollars to our town, I'm going to get off my soapbox here, this town needs it because we don't want to raise our taxes. So the only way to increase revenues is to bring new tax dollars to town.
Yeah, it's the wow factor. When you go into Hodgetown, you're like, am I in Amarillo, Texas?
Yeah.
It's called the wow factor, and it continues to be a wow factor. By the way, you spoke of that, the drone show you saw on America's Got Talent. That was that cat.
That's them, yeah.
That was that guy. Yeah.
Oh, man, and it's just phenomenal. I mean, my son-in-law is an engineer, and so I know he would be right in the middle of all that if he could get back there and see the guts of what they were doing back there.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So, hey, you got anything else on your mind today?
Real quick, Oklahoma softball.
Oh, yeah.
They did it again.
Right ahead.
They did it again. You know, and it was a good World Series, too. They had to come back. They had to win from the losers bracket. I'm a big fan of their coach. And, yeah, I'm from Texas, and Texas was playing. But dadgum, 4 in a row.
No, it's amazing. You see the numbers of those seniors for OU. That's so enjoyable to watch. Speaking of time, softball's a lot faster than baseball, and I really enjoy the concept of it. Yeah. You know, you might see a 1-0, 2-0 in game, but they're still exciting, and they have it down in Oklahoma City where that is one of the glory places to play softball, and everybody knows that's
one of our staff members played softball in college, and she goes every year.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
You know, she said when the second baseman from Oklahoma lost the ball, I don't know if you saw that, but she lost the ball on the light, and it came down, and boy, and it nailed her right in the eye socket. She didn't play the rest of the series. That was in the regional all the way to from the first of the World Series to the end, she didn't play again. And Kelsey said you could hear it from the stands. It was just one of those bad deals. But, man, those girls are good, and it's fun to watch. College World Series the same. You know, I stayed up and watched Texas and A&M that night that went to midnight in that regional game, and then the super regional, they came back. I thought they were done early in the game, and they came back and won it. When I turned it back on, they're up 15-9, and I didn't see that one coming. So I think, going to Omaha and it's time for that. The College World Series is just outstanding.
I think if you can get over the NIL, you can get over the portal. We talk so much about that it is a pro sport, but other than that, I mean, what the College World Series is and what the softball World Series is, NCAA-wise, is just so well done.
Yeah, those two are spot on. Those two are spot on. They do a good job.
Someday we're going to talk Rock Rose, I think.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, I know you don't ever hear that word in your daily life.
Here's the thing. People say, when are you going to do this? When are you going to start? Well, I'm telling you right now, and I told them at the auction for the sod poodles the other night, we're this close.
Yeah, that's cool.
We're technically ready to break ground. There's a lot of moving parts that go involved with this. We've got a landowner that has 25 or 30 other business spaces out here that there's some infrastructure issues that have to go into place.
Yeah.
We're not the only game in town out there. We're just one of them, and we're a small part in the big picture of that development out there. But it's fixing to happen, and it's going to be exciting.
What's the longest stretch you've gone in your life without hearing the word Rock Rose?
Mm-hmm. No, not many. It's every day with me because
I know
it's a daily grind.
And you don't mind if you see Jimmy out there, he doesn't mind talking about that, but he doesn't back off from anything. That's why I love this guy.
It takes. Here's the deal: we're raising $30 million, and it'll end up being a little bit more than 30 now with inflation. And go try that yourself.
Yeah,
it's 2 years later, we're about there.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Hey, let's hop out of here, Jimmy. Thanks so much for joining us on the Fieldhouse Podcast. Remember, it's a production of the Kids Inc. Sports Network. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.